we're going to talk in a second. So let's bring him in now, and then we'll play a little bit of Donna from last night. So warm welcome to Head of Campaigns at Popular Conservatism, Andrew Allison. Hello, Andrew.
Good evening, Kevin.
Yeah, what this story is, we'll have a listen to Donna from my show last night in just a second. This is what the local authority stand accused of is A, ignoring the local campaign, ignoring the impassioned campaign by these local people, just trampling over them and saying, no, the mega mosque goes ahead. And B, showing favoritism towards Muslim people, towards Muslims. These are the accusations. Donna Hill spoke to me last night. She absolutely denied it's anything to do with racism. She says it's just inappropriate in their little town. Massive mosque and 11 car parking spaces, 250 worshippers. Doesn't really stack up, does it? Let's have a listen to Donna from last night.
Nothing to do with, none of us are racist. It's the location and just the size of the building. It's an absolute eyesore. As you can see, it's hideous. It's so out of place.
And the council, you presumably have been campaigning for this, against this for some time.
Yeah.
The council have just essentially just ignored you?
Yeah, it's all been done very quietly without residents having, really knowing anything about it. I think it was first passed in 2022 during lockdown, and it seems to have just been, seemed to be adding things, but without anyone knowing about it. Local residents were really unaware until it started being built.
And are you still? I mean, have you given up hope, or are you still?
No, we've appointed a barrister now who's looking into the plans, because we do believe there's been a lot of corruption along the way with the plans, and also he's looking into the highways and seeing about the safety of it as well.
But it is a powerful argument that you say this constituency where you live, Dalton-in-Furness, 1% of the population are Muslim.
Yeah.
So why would they require this enormous mosque? Well, obviously, Andrew, she did answer at that point, no idea, and that's what they're so furious about. And what they're saying is, it's quite right. It's nothing to do with racism or Islamophobia, but we don't understand why an area, a rural area, lovely little town called Dalton-in-Furness, on the edge of the Lake District. You saw the beautiful countryside that this mega mosque is set in. We don't understand why an area with a 1% Muslim population is having this massive mosque imposed on it. They say this looks like a classic case of, kind of strange favoritism towards Islam. What are your thoughts here?
I can understand why the doctors at the General Hospital in Dalton-in-Furness want a place of worship. I mean, I'm a Christian and Catholic. I can fully understand that. The nearest mosque to them is around 50 miles away in Lancaster. It's over an hour's drive. It's impractical. So I completely understand that. And we also, in this country, Kevin, have the most arcane and almost impossible to navigate planning laws. And in general, I'm in favour of liberalisation, but I've looked on the map and I just can't for the life of me work out why you would place a new building there. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me at all. And then when you read into it that there could be up to 250 people there, now, okay, some of those are going to be children. So, but even so, you would think maybe 80 to 100 cars could possibly be wanting to park somewhere so people can go and worship in the mosque. And there's car parking for 11. Now, it's not quite in the middle of nowhere, Kevin. It's near Dalton-in-Furness. It's on the outskirts. But even so, people are going to be travelling for miles around and converging in this area, and there's going to be nowhere to park. And now, if you were to try and build a new housing development there to provide homes for local families, if you were trying to build a small nuclear reactor to provide power for hundreds of thousands of people, you would never get planning permission. So it is quite a mystery why this one has been granted planning permission on this site.
Westmoreland and Furness Council, for they are the authority in charge here. Westmoreland and Furness Council said I read this out last night as well, but this is their statement. We support people's right to practice their religion free from harassment and abuse. That's the beginning of their statement. I don't know what on earth that has got to do with whether or not you're going to build a mega mosque. You know, so thank you very much, Westmoreland and Furness Council, for that excellent piece of virtue signalling, halo polishing. We support people's right to practice their religion free from harassment and abuse. You're supposed to support people's right to practice their religion free from harassment and abuse.
So do you, Kevin, and so do I.
Of course, you're supposed to. So that is nonsense. But then it goes on to say, noting that the prayer centre has followed all necessary procedures to gain planning permission. Well, I'm sure they have. But this is in the face of an impassioned campaign by the local people who say this is an inappropriate location. You know, A, because they don't understand why it will be in the middle of their community when their community only contains 1% of Islamic people. And B, as you just alluded to, 250 worshippers, you know, that's going to take a lot of cars, and they've only got spaces for 11 cars. This will cause traffic chaos, I would suggest. I mean, I can give you a sort of slight story of my own local mosque, which is in Regent's Park in central London. You know, lovely building, and lots of wonderful people worship there pretty much every day. But on the big worshipping days, the cars around Regent's Park, it's absolutely packed. Nothing wrong with that because there's plenty of spaces for them to go. But in a place like this, I think it'll cause chaos.
In central London, you've also got an excellent public transport system with buses and
yes,
tubes.
good point. Good point.
And you know, so that eases the traffic problems. Whereas in a place like this, you don't have that. I'll be surprised there's even a reliable bus service most days. But what I can't understand is why a brownfield site somewhere that was close to the hospital, because we are talking about hospital doctors who are wanting this built, who are working at Barrow-in-Furness General Hospital, why there can't be a brownfield site somewhere in Barrow that could accommodate this. It just that just doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
And I mean, I'm not quite sure what these doctors have particularly got to do with it. OK, they're Muslim doctors.
Well, they want it building. They're behind this particular Islamic Centre. They're the driving force behind it, according to the Telegraph.
You're right. They are. But I find that in itself quite strange. But as I say,
well, I get the impression, Kevin, that basically the Islamic community in that area are those people who work at the hospital.
Yeah,
that's what I read from the Telegraph.
They're the 1%. Yes.
Yes, they are pretty much. Yes.
Yeah, but as I say, this arguably, I'm not necessarily saying this, but some of the locals say that this just looks like an authority that has shown definite favoritism towards Muslims, towards Islamic people. And we know the syndrome we're talking about, you know. You know, we've got Westmoreland and Furness's council. By the way, did I mention that they support people's right to practice their religion free from harassment and abuse? Whoop-de-doo, well done, well done. You know, you just wonder. And this is what the local people are saying. This council was too afraid to say no in case it was charged with Islamophobia. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and I think that is probably true. I think it's certainly got, the argument has certainly got some merit, because if they had turned it down, that's exactly what they would have been accused with. And we know throughout all the red gangs scandals that we've seen, it's always been about not trying to upset the local community, not stir up community tensions. These are the sort of things that have been said as to the reason why there were cover-ups. And I think it could even be as simple as that. Well, if we turn down this planning application, it looks like we're being Islamophobic. This is what we're going to be accused with. I think we'll have to treat this very, very carefully. And yes, and it's gone through. And that could well be the case. Of course, I don't know, but it is plausible.
Well, that's what the protesters feel. They feel that this is the case and that their wishes, their impassioned campaign has been completely ignored. I mean, this statement from Westmoreland and Furness Council, by the way, they support people's right to practice their religion free from harassment and abuse, because so you know they're wonderful people. What they should have included in this statement is some reference to the campaign by the local people. But no, no, they just say, oh, you know, they followed the necessary procedures to gain planning permission. I mean, that is a pretty nebulous thing to say about a massive building for 250 people in the middle of a few fields, isn't it? That's a very nebulous thing to say.
Yes, it is. And of course, when they say that all the planning rules were followed, nobody really knows whether that's true or not, because no one understands the planning rules.
Well, also, I believe, you know, I'm no expert on planning rules, but consultation is supposed to be part of the process, isn't it? And the local people just don't feel that they've been properly consulted, that they've been ridden roughshod over.
Yeah, and that could well be true, and I don't blame them for feeling like that. But as you've said, you're not an expert on planning. I'm not an expert on planning. But the fact is, if you want to actually build anything in this country, because of the planning rules, you have to get an expert on planning to be able to understand the system. So if the council turns around and says, we followed all the rules, well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Nobody would actually know.
No, and as I say, some reference to the people who've campaigned against this would be nice. I want to stress, and I'm sure you agree with me, Andrew, that this is not about sort of saying, oh, these Muslims shouldn't have a place of worship. Of course they should. Of course they should.
Well, that's why I said, why can't there be some sort of suitable building actually in the bigger town of Barrow-in-Furness?
Exactly.
There must be something there, or something on the outskirts, somewhere there's a more appropriate location than this, and certainly with more than 11 car parking spaces.
It's just about location. You know, of course they should have a place of worship, a nice new place of worship. I don't actually think it's that bad a looking building, except for where it is. It stands out like a carbuncle.
Yeah, if this had been in a town, Kev, I think it would have probably just blended in pretty much.
Exactly.
Because it's not particularly ugly. I mean, I've seen these reports where people are saying it's a monstrosity. I don't think it is a monstrosity, but put in that position where it is on the outskirts of a small town in some fields, yeah, it stands out like a sore thumb. It
does become a monstrosity. It becomes an eyesore because of the setting. So that's what we're talking about, and that's what the local people want to know. Why? Look at it. It's out of you know, it's just ridiculous. But construction, as you can see, has started. But they have hired a top barrister, so their campaign continues apace. And even people in the campaign, we spoke to quite a few today, are worried about putting their head above the parapet in case they're charged with Islamophobia. So what I think we have to worry about culturally in this country is the stasis that people sort of self-impose, they self-censor because of the terror of being accused of Islamophobia. I mean, it's a different kind of story, but that was the story of the rape gang scandal, wasn't it? People in power, coppers, social workers, teachers, being afraid to speak out and take action about this awful raping and drugging and torturing of young, vulnerable white girls in case they were accused of Islamophobia. This fear of being accused of Islamophobia, I think, is a problem in this country.
Yes, it is. No, I completely agree with you, and it seems to hit the headlines a lot. I'll tell you what doesn't hit the headlines, Kevin, is that tens of thousands of Christians are being slaughtered in Africa, and you never even hear about it.
Well, there you go. There's a two-tier religious stories there.
Well, I think it is because you know, Islamophobia seems to hit the headlines all the time. You've got council officials, police officers all worried about it and things like that. But you can say anything that you like about Christianity, as an example. You seem to be able to say anything you like about Judaism, and everyone's got to accept it. But you make a mild criticism of Islam, and you get Islamophobia thrown at you. And I mean, we've got the right to criticise any religion, including my own. I'm a pretty devout Catholic. But, you know, I do accept that everyone's got the right to tip the mickey out of it if they want to.
Yeah, I'll give you Sadiq Khan, Sir Sadiq Khan, as he's hilariously known these days, the London mayor, throwing the kind of racism, sexism, Islamophobic book at Donald Trump today. It's called him every single name under the sun, but one of them, of course...
You had to get your bingo card ready.
Yeah. It's ding, house! But yeah, I mean, throwing the Islamophobic card at Donald Trump, which rather ridiculously, if you ask me. But... yeah, there you have a case of what we're talking about. Andrew, very good to talk to you. It's been too long. Come on again soon.